So you want a smaller waist and bigger glutes, but you're not actually convinced it's possible for you. Or you're thinking this is just going to be another fitness person talking about how they've snatched the waist and built the glutes because they've got crazy genetics. And again, it's not actually possible for me. Well, by the end of this video, I'm going to give you the exact system that I use to shrink my waist and grow my glutes. And it's the exact system I've used with all of my clients who've wanted to do exactly the same. I'm not a fitness influencer. I'm a coach and a registered nutritional therapist. So there's no fluff here. And a strategy I've used on myself, my clients. No shade to fitness influencers, because getting yourself in shape is hard. I've done it, but trying to get somebody else into shape is even harder. So stay tuned. For those of you who stick around into the end, I've thrown in a little spicy bonus. And that is how I've helped myself and again, my clients still feel like they've got a snatch waist even around their period. And again, this is no fluff, just evidence-based information from a nutritionist, from a personal trainer. Let's crack on to step one. Step one in the system is reduce body fat. If you were to ask the women I work with, what do you mean when you say that you want a snatched waist? And the majority of them would say, I want to get rid of my belly fat. And that's what I wanted to get rid of most when I started my journey. That was 100% my biggest insecurity. And I used to just hate the feeling of it. I know that sounds really weird. I've got this really weird memory like stuck in my head. And I was sat on the edge of my bed and I looked down at my belly on all of my rolls. Don't get me wrong, I have rolls now. They're never going to go away. But you know when you feel really, really uncomfortable and you've got fat there that you want to lose? Do you know where the fat like digs into the top of your bra? And like when you're wearing jeans, it's just like uncomfortable and you're constantly like moving your top around and your top gets like trapped in the fat on your belly and you're just like... You just want to pull it off. That is how I felt. It just felt just so uncomfortable. And I remember just looking in the mirror and looking at it thinking, this has got to go. Like I've got to do something about it because I cannot feel this way forever. Please. So to reduce belly fat, we need to eat in a calorie deficit. And the easiest way to explain that is what happens is our body needs a certain amount of energy. It needs a certain amount of calories to just function. So it needs energy to digest our food, for me to talk with my hands like this, for you to go see your mates, for you to go on a run, for you to walk to the fridge. We need the energy we get from food, which are calories, to live. Now, everybody's calorie needs are different. Let's say my calorie needs are 2,000 calories per day. If I started eating 1,500 calories a day, my body would be like, whoa, bro, where are those 500 calories? I need those. I need that to digest that meal that you've just guzzled down your throat. And then it goes, ooh, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to burn your body fat for energy. And you're like, yeah, that's what I want you to do. Burn it. So yeah, that's basically what happens. To lose fat, we need to be eating in a calorie deficit, and our body does exactly what I've just explained. And there's many ways of eating in a calorie deficit. So let's say you're just starting out on this journey and you think, do you know what? I feel like there's a lot of like ultra processed foods in my diet, like chocolate, sweets, takeaways, things like that. I feel like I've heard that it's not the best for your health. So I'll try and reduce some of them. Let's just keep things simple. Let's say you eat the same 3 meals every single day. Same breakfast, same lunch, same evening meal. You have 4 biscuits every day because every time you have a cuppa, a nice Yorkshire tea, you have a biscuit. You have a bicky. Those biscuits have 100 calories in them each. So you go, do you know what? Rather than having 4 biscuits a day, I'm just going to have 1 biscuit a day. So you have reduced your daily calories by 300 calories because normally you eat 4 biscuits a day. Now you just eat 1 biscuit a day. And this would put you in a calorie deficit. So you've reduced your daily calorie intake by 300 calories. That's a nice little biscuit analogy for you. That is one of the ways that you could put yourself in a calorie deficit. And by being in a calorie deficit, you're going to reduce your overall body fat throughout your entire body. We can't choose where that comes from, but eventually it is going to come off our stomach, off our belly, and we're gonna lose belly fat. And just a quickie, if you want to understand a little bit more about the nutrition principles I use with myself and with my clients when they're eating in a calorie deficit, then download my free training in the description box, and that goes way more in depth about the nutrition part. So go give that a watch because it's a video. It's not a boring PDF. Okay, step 2. Build the frame. Now we use lifting weights to build the frame, and you can do this alongside step 1. We can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Especially if you're a beginner, you'll see great results from this. We build our frame to make our waist look teeny tiny and our glutes look like beefed up barm cakes. Baked booty buns. Big booty. You get it. Big glutes, okay? When you do weight training correctly, it helps you to build muscle, which helps to accentuate certain areas of your body. So if you can see my comparison photos, I've achieved this V taper technique. If you look at my shoulders and my back and how my waist goes, looks like an upside down triangle. This V taper is basically just a bodybuilding term where people aim to build wide shoulders and have a narrower waist. And I can see you panicking. You're like, girl, I do not want wide shoulders. I have come here for the small waist and the big booty. Which I know I understand how it sounds, but if you look at my pictures, I really like the physique that I've built. And I've done exactly that. I've also built up my back and made my glutes bigger. And that is literally how my waist looks smaller and my glutes look bigger. Yes, genetics also plays a part, but we're going to come on to that later on in one of the other steps, okay? But genuinely, that's what I've done. I've made my shoulders bigger, my back bigger, my glutes bigger, and that gives this hourglass illusion or accentuates your hourglass physique. If you've already got one, you know, if you kind of already shaped that way, it accentuates it even more. And again, I haven't just done this with myself, I've also helped my clients do the same. So if you see in these photos, can you see how her shoulders are more defined, her back is more defined, her glutes are bigger, her glutes are firmer, and that is because we have built muscle. We've worked on step 1 and step 2, losing body fat in a calorie deficit, and then step 2, building her frame using strength training. And if you're a beginner, this actually happens really efficiently. You don't need to do crazy workouts, you don't need to do crazy hours in the gym, you just need to be consistent and consistent with this exact framework that I'm giving you. So in order to make your waist look smaller and your glutes bigger to give you that snatched look, these are the 3 main areas me and my clients focused on. First, the shoulders. You want to grow your shoulders, and specifically the side of your shoulders, which are called your lateral delts. Training your shoulders and your lateral delts will give you more length along the top, so that long bit of the triangle, and this will make your waist look smaller in comparison. Exercises like seated shoulder press, lateral raises are really great exercises to include in your program. Second, your back. Oh, I love training my back. I just think it's one of the sexiest body parts ever. I don't know why it is, but it's just, give me a backless top any day. Building your back adds shape to your body. And again, building that contrast is what gives you that V shape. So exercises like wide grip lat pull down, seated row, or single arm row are great exercises to include in your program. And finally, the glutes. Now, building your glutes adds shape to your lower body, and a lot of it if we're building a big old dumpy. That helps to balance everything out, and again, makes the waist look teeny tiny. And some of my favorite glute exercises I would include in my program would be hip thrusts, Romanian deadlifts, cable kickbacks. They're my fave. Bulgarian split squat. I want to say that's my favorite, but I hate it with all of my heart because it's so hard, but it's a great exercise. So you shouldn't chicken out from doing it. We're serious about our goals here. If you're a beginner in the gym, here's how to keep it simple. This is what we're going to do. We're going to aim for 2 to 3 strength sessions per week. A full body routine is perfect if you're a beginner or you work out 2 to 3 times per week. You still want to train your entire body because we don't want to get any muscle imbalances. That's muscle groups that we haven't spoken about, like your quads, hamstrings, chest, core, everything. We don't want any muscle imbalances. That's not cute. But that said, obviously the whole process of this video and this strategy is how to get a snatch waist and build your glutes. So the main focus in your full body workout program would be your shoulders, your back, and your glutes within those full body sessions. And finally, we want to focus on good form and work on gradually getting stronger within those exercises that you've chosen over time. Step number 3, setting realistic expectations. This is so important. I am not the YouTuber, the coach, anyone who is going to sell you a dream. That's why I've included some of my client results along with my own personal journey, because we're all completely different. We all have completely different genetics. And because of that, we need to make sure that we're setting realistic expectations. So this strategy that I've given you will absolutely work. I'm not giving you fluffy information and telling you to wear a waist trainer and not eat carbs and silly things like that. This is evidence-based information that I'm giving to you, and a strategy that has worked with myself and worked with clients. But the results that you will achieve will be different to me, to my clients, because we all have different genetics. So that's really important to know. I'm 9 years into my fitness journey and I've gone through loads of calorie deficits, loads of fat loss phases. And no matter how lean I get, I can always reduce fat on my belly, like always. It always comes off there. However, I'm always left with a little bit like a tire at the bottom of my belly that it will not go. Now, I look at other women's stomachs, some women as well, and they've had kids, and I'll look at the stomach and I'm like, that is mental that you have no body fat at the bottom lower part of your belly. I've had 0 kids and I have that and it won't shift. But that is due to my genetics, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In actual fact, there's going to be more women like me who have that stubborn belly fat there compared to women who are able to get like a washboard abs, because we as women, we store more fat compared to men. So there's things like that because of our genetics. That's just the way it is. Don't get me wrong, my stomach looks really lean still, but that bottom bit of fat at the bottom, she ain't going nowhere. But what's really nice is that I've just learned to accept it. It doesn't make me any less athletic or beautiful or anything. It's just extra body fat there. Same with my glutes. I have grown my glutes significantly over the years, but my mum and dad have got a fat ass. What does that give me? Naturally, great genetics. So, you could do the same glute workout as me. You could do the same diet as me in terms of like putting on muscle, and our results will be different because I have different genetics to you. But that is not to take credit away from myself, because I've genuinely increased the size of my glutes over the years. So we've got to give credit where credit's due, but also we need to talk about genetics because it's important. And finally, for the bonus step, if you've stuck around to the end of the video, the way I've kept a flatter stomach around my period is by reducing my bloating, by reducing the inflammation in my body. For so long, the week before my period, the bloat I would experience would be crazy. And you know where it's just so bad, it gets you down. Like, obviously, as a woman, you have a cycle, you expect a little bit of bloating, but when it just kind of takes over your whole week and your life, doesn't it? And it's so uncomfortable. Also, my mood was all over the place. I was crying all the time. Boobs, oh my God, I can't even explain the soreness. Do you know when it feels like they're gonna burst, and like even if someone just like swipes past them, they're so sore and it makes you want to cry? And for a full week, it's just uncomfortable. Your boobs are uncomfortable, your belly's uncomfortable, and it's just like can I get a break, please? And we class them as premenstrual symptoms, but they shouldn't be really, really severe like that. So the reason for this is in the luteal phase, there's a hormone called progesterone, and that is higher, which is just a hormone fluctuation which happens in the luteal phase. And this makes your body more sensitive to stress and inflammation. Now, the foods that you eat can also cause inflammation. So think ultra processed foods. So things like chocolate, sweets, cakes, even things like protein bars, ready meals, takeaways, things which contain a high amount of like sugar, fat and salt, and also alcohol, they're classed as inflammatory. So if your diet is filled with these inflammatory foods, it's going to cause more inflammation in the body, and that can worsen your PMS symptoms, especially your bloating, but then also your mood and everything else. So I reduced the inflammatory foods in my diet. So what I've done is made some really easy swaps. So rather than relying on protein bars as a snack, instead I have a Greek yogurt bowl with berries, a little bit of honey, maybe a sprinkle of nuts or some flaxseed. I'm also meal prepping more. So making things like chicken and veggie rice bowls rather than being short on time, having nothing prepped and then having to run to like Tesco and choosing a ready meal instead, which would still be like low calorie and high protein, but that doesn't mean that it's not ultra processed. So instead, I'm getting more whole foods and less inflammatory foods. And since I've been focusing on more whole and anti-inflammatory foods, my PMS symptoms are so much better. I hold on to less water, my stomach's flatter. Sometimes if it wasn't for my Oura ring telling me that I'm due on my period, I wouldn't know that I'm due on my period because I don't really get that much bloating. My digestion's better, my mood's better, my boobs aren't as sore. It's just a win-win. And eating in this way is also what I educate my clients with, because a lot of my clients who come to me suffer with things like PMS, endometriosis. So eating in this way is also really helpful for them as well. And that is it, my friends. That is my exact strategy, which you can take, you can steal, you can use, please do, on how to snatch your waist and grow your glutes. And if you want a bit extra and you want to see how I've transformed my legs from someone who has lots of stubborn fat there, lots of cellulite, then go check out this video on how I've transformed my legs too.